Right now, somewhere in your day, a sentence is stuck in your head. You know exactly what you want to say. But by the time it reaches your mouth, it comes out slow, or it doesn't come out at all. Here's the truth, my friend, that is not because your English is bad. It's because of one hidden habit almost every learner has, and today, I'm going to show you exactly how to break it. Hello and welcome back to English Ignite Podcast. I'm Alex, and I'm really glad you're here. In today's episode, we're going to talk about something simple, but incredibly powerful. How to think in English, anywhere, anytime, no matter how busy your life is. This matters because thinking in English is the real bridge between studying English and actually speaking it with confidence. I will be speaking slowly and clearly, so you can follow me, and repeat after me. Let's begin. Many people believe they must move to London, or New York, or some English-speaking country, to finally think in English. But my friend, that is simply not true. You don't need to live abroad. You don't need a native speaker sitting next to you all day. You don't need 5 hours of study every single night. What you actually need is much smaller than that. You need small, smart steps. Steps you can repeat every day. Steps that fit quietly into the life you already have. 1 minute of speaking in the morning. Listening while you walk to work. Thinking in English while you wait for your coffee. These habits look tiny. But over weeks and months, they build something huge. A mind that runs in English without translating. Here's the thing. If you already live somewhere English is spoken all day, this happens almost automatically. You hear it constantly, you use it constantly, and slowly, your brain stops translating and starts thinking directly. But that's not your situation, is it? Most of the people listening to me right now live in a place where English isn't the language on the street. Maybe you study alone. Maybe your only English comes from videos or a podcast just like this one. And when it's time to speak, everything slows down. You think in your own language first. Then you try to rebuild the sentence in English. That takes time, and sometimes, the sentence still sounds strange, because English simply doesn't follow the same structure your language does. In some languages, you might say something like, I very like this. But in English, we say, I really like this. That small gap is exactly why translating in your head makes speaking feel clumsy and unnatural. So let's name the real problem clearly, because once you see it, everything changes. You are not slow because your English is weak. You are slow because you are translating. Say that with me in your mind. I am not slow because my English is weak. I am slow because I am translating. Your brain is doing 2 jobs at once. First, it thinks in your native language. Then, it tries to convert that thought into English. That takes real mental effort, and while your brain is working through all of that, the conversation keeps moving without you. That's the moment you feel nervous. That's the moment you freeze. Picture this. Someone asks you a simple question. What did you do today? You understand every word. But before you can answer, your brain runs back home to your first language, builds the thought there, and then tries to translate it into English. And right there, in that half-second gap, you get stuck. This is not a sign that you're bad at English. It's a sign that your brain is doing too much work, in the wrong order. But here is the good news, my friend. When you stop translating, everything becomes faster, lighter, and far more natural. You can train your brain to think directly in English. You don't need special talent for this. You need the right method, practiced consistently. And today, I'm going to give you 5 ways to build exactly that. Stay with me, because tip number 5 is the one that ties everything together, so don't leave early. Let's start with one of the most powerful techniques in language learning. Shadowing. Maybe you've heard this word before. Maybe it's completely new to you. Either way, shadowing is simple, and it trains your listening and speaking at exactly the same time. Here's how it works. You listen to someone speaking English, a podcast, a video, or even this very episode. Then, you repeat what you hear, immediately, like an echo. You don't pause to think. You don't translate. You don't reach for a dictionary. You copy the words, the sound, the speed, and the rhythm, all at once. This matters because English isn't only made of words. It has a flow, a music, a rhythm that carries meaning too. Let's try it together right now. I'll say a sentence, and you repeat after me. I want to speak English fluently. Now you repeat. I listen to English every day. Now you repeat. Shadowing helps me think and speak better. Now you repeat. Well done. That is shadowing. At first, it might feel strange. You might feel like the speaker is going too fast. You might not catch every single word. That's completely okay, my friend. Shadowing was never about understanding everything. It's about training your mouth and your ear to move together, naturally, the way a native speaker's does. That's tip 1. But tip 2 takes this idea and brings it directly into your everyday routine, no extra time required. Here's something you may not expect. Thinking in English doesn't need extra time in your schedule. It needs a new use for the time you already have. Think about your normal day. Waking up. Eating. Walking. Using your phone. Every single one of these moments is a chance to practice. In the morning, while you get dressed, try narrating it silently in your mind. I put on my shirt. I wear my shoes. I take my bag. When you step outside, try this. I walk to work. I wait for the bus. I see many people. Simple sentences. Present tense. Easy to build. At first, this might feel slow. You might need real effort to find the words. That's normal. You're training a muscle that hasn't been used much yet. You can do this during almost any task. Cooking? Try this. I cut the vegetables. I cook the rice. The food smells good. Checking your phone? Try this. I check my messages. I watch a video. I reply to my friend. These are small, everyday actions, which means you have dozens of chances to practice every single day, without adding one extra minute to your schedule. You just use the time that's already yours. Once the present tense feels comfortable, stretch a little further. Try your plans for the day. Today I will go to work. I will meet my friend. I will study English tonight. Or think ahead. After work, I'm going to buy coffee. Then I will go home. I will watch a video and relax. And at night, before bed, look back. Today I worked a lot. I talked to my friend. I learned some new words. Now notice what just happened. You used present, future, and past, 3 time frames, all inside one ordinary day. That's not memorizing grammar rules from a textbook. That's using English the way it actually works, in real life. Here's why this method is so powerful. You're not memorizing sentences to recite later. You're using English again and again, inside real, lived moments. Your brain starts to recognize patterns without being told to. And slowly, something shifts. You stop reaching for your first language first. You start thinking directly in English. That shift is one of the biggest steps toward real fluency. Let me tell you about a student I once worked with. Her name was Elena. She used to say, "Alex, I understand everything you say, but when I try to speak, my mind goes blank." Sound familiar? Elena's problem wasn't her vocabulary. She actually knew thousands of words. Her real problem was that she was building every sentence twice, once in her head, in her own language, and then again, slowly, in English. By the time the English version was ready, the conversation had already moved on without her. So we tried something small. Every morning, for just 2 minutes, she described her breakfast out loud, in English. I made my coffee. I ate some bread. I looked out the window. That's all. No pressure. No perfect grammar. Just small, honest sentences, spoken directly, without a translation step hiding in between. Within 3 weeks, Elena told me something that stayed with me. She said, "Alex, this morning I didn't translate. The sentence just came." That, my friend, is exactly the shift we're building toward today, and for Elena, it started with 2 minutes a day, not 2 hours. That's tip 2. But if you want your ear to catch up with your mouth, you need tip 3, and this one changes how English sounds to you forever. Tip number 3 is simple, but don't underestimate it. Immerse yourself in English every single day. If you want to think in English and speak it more naturally, your brain needs to hear the language often. Not once a week in a classroom, but in small doses, daily. Many learners pour all their energy into grammar rules and vocabulary lists. But they forget something important. Language is something you hear before you ever speak it well. Your brain needs to get comfortable with the sound of English before your mouth can produce it naturally. Listening teaches you new words, yes, but more importantly, it teaches you the rhythm, the speed, and the natural shape of real spoken English. No textbook can give you that. At the beginning, listening can feel hard. You might catch only a few words in a whole sentence. This is exactly the point where many learners give up, thinking, "This is too difficult for me." But my friend, this stage is actually the most important one. Your brain is learning, even when you can't feel it happening yet. Think about the first time you heard a song in a language you didn't know. At first, it probably sounded like noise. But after hearing it many times, you began recognizing words. Then small phrases. Language works exactly the same way. You don't need to understand 100% of what you hear. Even 30 or 50% is enough to build real connections in your brain. Over time, understanding grows, without translating. So how do you actually do this? It's simple. Listen to podcasts, like this one. Listen to English music. Watch short videos on YouTube. Follow simple stories or English news made for learners. Choose things you genuinely enjoy, because enjoyment is what keeps you coming back tomorrow. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day, repeated consistently, will change your ear over time. Keep going, and one day, something surprising happens. You'll realize you understood a sentence without translating it at all. That's the exact moment your brain has become at home in English. So don't worry if it feels slow right now. Just keep listening. Let English become the background music of your life, and eventually, it will feel completely natural. That's tip 3. But listening alone isn't enough. Your mouth needs its own training too. That's exactly where tip 4 comes in. Tip number 4 might be the most physical tip on this list. Speak out loud, and train your speaking muscles. Many learners read English silently in their heads, and that's genuinely useful for understanding. But if you want to speak better, at some point, you have to use your actual voice. Speaking is a physical skill. It uses your mouth, your tongue, your lips, your breath. If those muscles never practice, speaking will feel awkward every single time, no matter how much grammar you know. So here's a simple, powerful habit. Read out loud. Choose something easy, a short story, a simple dialogue, even subtitles from a show you enjoy. Read it slowly first, focusing on clear pronunciation. Don't worry about mistakes. Then read it again, a little faster. Then read it a third time, with feeling, like you're telling a story, or acting in a film. For example, take the sentence, "I am happy to see you." Don't just read the words flatly. Try to feel it as you say it. This trains your brain to connect not just the meaning, but the emotion carried inside English. At first, your voice might feel strange in your own ears. Some words might genuinely be difficult to pronounce, even simple ones, like world or comfortable. That's completely normal. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Think of it like going to the gym. The first session is always the hardest. Train a little every day, and your muscles, including your speaking muscles, grow stronger. Now combine this with listening. After you hear a sentence, repeat it immediately, not just the words, but the sound, the rhythm, the feeling behind it. Try this with me. I want to get better at English. Now you repeat. I don't understand everything, but I keep going. Now you repeat. I'm improving little by little. Now you repeat. Perfect. When you do this, you're training your mouth to move the way English moves, and your ear to recognize accurate pronunciation, both at once. At first, you might not sound exactly like the speaker. That's fine. Don't stop. Keep going. Over time, your voice becomes smoother, your pronunciation becomes clearer, and speaking starts to feel comfortable instead of frightening. You can do this anywhere, at home, in your room, even walking alone outside. You don't need a perfect setting. You just need to use your voice, consistently. And remember, repetition matters. Don't say a sentence once and move on. Say it 5 times. 10 times. It might feel repetitive, even a little boring, but that repetition is exactly what makes speaking feel automatic instead of forced. Now, before we move to the final tip, I want to talk about something honest. Maybe, right now, part of you is thinking, "This sounds good, Alex, but what if I make mistakes? What if someone hears me and laughs? What if I just don't have time?" My friend, I understand. It's normal to feel shy. It's normal to feel embarrassed the first time your own voice speaks English out loud. It's normal to look at your schedule and think, "I don't have room for one more thing." These feelings are not weaknesses. Almost every fluent speaker you admire felt exactly the same way at the beginning. But here's what I want you to remember. Mistakes are not the opposite of fluency. Mistakes are the path to fluency. Every strong English speaker you've ever heard made thousands of small mistakes before that fluency arrived. And time? You don't need more of it. You need to use the time you already spend, on your phone, on your commute, in your kitchen, a little differently. That's it. If you're still listening right now, that already tells me something important about you. You're serious about this. Good. Because the final tip is the one that pulls everything else together. This is it, my friend, the tip I saved for the end, because it's the one that makes everything else stick. You don't need extra time for this one. You just need to redirect time you're already spending. Start with your phone. Think about how many times a day you check it, 30 times, 50 times, maybe more. messages, social media, notifications. Now imagine changing your phone's language settings to English. Every single time you glance at your screen, you're quietly absorbing words like settings, brightness, update, delete. At first, you might not understand them all. But after a few days, you start recognizing them, without studying, without flashcards, just from repeated exposure. This is called passive learning, and it's remarkably powerful for people with busy lives. Next, try writing a short diary in English every night, before you sleep. You don't need long paragraphs. You don't need perfect grammar. Just 3 honest sentences about your day. For example, you can write, "Today I went to work. I felt very tired. I drank 2 cups of coffee." Or, "It rained this morning. I stayed home. I watched an English video." These sentences may look simple, but they train your sentence structure, use vocabulary from your real life, and most importantly, they force your brain to think directly in English instead of translating. It takes 5 minutes. If you want to make it even more powerful, send your sentences to a friend who's also learning. Now it's a real conversation, not just an exercise. And one more tool that fits perfectly into modern life. Short videos. TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, these platforms are full of short, natural English content. Pick topics you genuinely enjoy: travel, food, daily life, comedy, whatever pulls you in. Watch one short video 2 or 3 times. Then pause it and repeat the sentences out loud, copying the speaker's tone, speed, and rhythm. Even a 20-second video is enough, because you're not just watching, you're listening, repeating, and training your mouth and ear together, in real time. Now here's the real secret behind all 5 of these tips, and it's simpler than you might expect. You don't need to add something new to your day. You need to change what you already do into English. Instead of reading a message in your language, read one in English. Instead of writing your daily notes in your language, write 2 simple sentences in English. While you're walking, instead of thinking in your first language, try describing what you see in English. These actions are small, but repeated daily, they become habits, and strong habits are exactly what create confident speakers. If you combine all 5 of these habits, shadowing, narrating your day, immersing yourself daily, speaking out loud, and building small daily routines, you will start to notice a real difference. Not in one single day, but steadily, week after week, your brain becomes more familiar with English, and slowly, you stop translating altogether. Think of it like planting a small seed every morning. One day of watering won't grow a tree. But water it a little every single day, and one morning you'll look up and realize the tree is already tall. Your English works exactly the same way. You won't feel the change happening minute by minute. But one day, someone will ask you a question, and the answer will simply arrive, in English, without effort, without translating, without hesitation. And in that moment, you'll understand that all those small, quiet minutes were never wasted. They were building this exact moment, one sentence at a time. Remember that stuck sentence I mentioned at the very beginning, the one sitting in your head, refusing to come out smoothly? That happens because of translation, that quiet, invisible habit running in the background of your mind. It's the same habit that stopped Elena, and it's probably the same habit that's been stopping you. But now you know exactly how to interrupt it. Shadowing to train your ear and mouth together. Narrating your day in real time. Immersing yourself in English daily. Speaking out loud to build real muscle memory. And weaving small English habits into moments you already live through every day. None of these 5 tips require you to move to another country. None of them require hours you don't have. They simply require the same 2 minutes Elena found in her kitchen, repeated, day after day, until English stops feeling borrowed and starts feeling like yours. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up, a little, every single day, and let English become part of your life, not homework you dread, but something you use, the same way you use your own language, without even thinking about it. That's when everything changes. That's when English stops feeling like a subject you study, and starts feeling like a language you simply think in. So here's what I want for you. Start small, stay consistent, and keep showing up. I'm Alex, and this is English Ignite Podcast. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.